Snipers, you have to see what's happening. The Bitcoin price right now is the long anticipated Fed's meeting is now out of the way. A 75-point increase in interest rates. Not a surprise for those that were tuned in. But what does this mean for the cryptocurrency market and equity markets for the immediate short term and long term now that the 75-point increase is in the books? Well, let's start with a quote from Jerome Powell straight from his mouth verbatim saying, "Trust me, our tightening will be enough to bring inflation down to 2%. It will be enough." And that's how Powell closed the press conference today. We're going to get into this dot plot chart in just a second. But snipers, what you need to know right now is the Feds were very clear that they are ready to keep things really tight for really long. And that was the main emphasis of today's FOMC meeting. All in all, this was a reiteration of the Jackson Hole speech. For those that were tuned into the Snipers channel, if you don't remember, the Jackson Hole speech is when the markets dumped initially and the Feds pretty much said that we're gonna stay tight and quantitative easing is not in the immediate short term because the Feds have two goals. Number one is to maintain price stability, which is inflation. And then number two, it's overall employment, right? And so because unemployment isn't ticking up right now, there's no reason the Feds are going to be easing away. They're going to continue to tighten monetary policy in order to control inflation. And they are reiterating the fact that they're going to continue to tighten up. And so that was the main point of today's meeting, verbatim saying failure to bring CPI down will cost more down the road. And a lot of people wanted to hear that potentially the Feds were ready to pivot, but that's not what we got. So let's dive straight into the charts and talk about how price action reacted to this, starting off with the fact that the biggest puzzle piece today, the most important thing on the chart, snipers, if you're going to get anything out of this video, the number one cryptocurrency channel on the internet, the number one technical analysis on the internet, it's the fact that a major puzzle piece broke major support, and that's the S&P 500 breaking this huge support level that has held for a very long time. At this point, if we go back, this is the yearly highs. You can see this channel here. It's the most important channel the S&P 500 is in. We broke into the lower end of this channel. What does that mean? Well, the bull's saying that when CPI peaked in June, that's the bottom. That thesis is still intact, but the bears are really getting a show for their money right now because the S&P 500, snipers, is breaking every structural support level there is. And at this point, you can pretty much say that if something does not change in the immediate short term, yes, markets love to do the opposite of what people expect. At any point, we could be seeing a push to the upside. And we're going to talk about what the early signs of that is, but there is potential new yearly lows on the table right now for the S&P 500 if we stay below 3,800 for the E-mini futures contract. That's the major resistance right now, which was major support that just broke today with the DXY pushing up into new yearly highs, currently sitting at 111. This is still pushing to the upside. The DXY is in price discovery. We have to keep that in mind, snipers. So what does this mean for Bitcoin? I've been very specific with the fact that as long as the S&P 500 does not break into new yearly highs, into new yearly lows, that Bitcoin does not need to break into new yearly lows. And I'm still sticking to that as long as two things hold together. Number one, the S&P 500 does not break into new yearly lows. But number two is that the Bitcoin to SPY chart does not start to decouple away. And what do I mean by that? Well, the Bitcoin to SPY chart, it's Bitcoin's valuation against the S&P 500, is currently testing a major support. So as long as we do not see this decouple away, we do not see the Bitcoin against SPY valuation continue to sell off, then there's no reason that Bitcoin has to revisit those lows from June of 17,600 or 17,200 is really where most of the volume is. So as long as this Bitcoin to SPY chart holds this major support, which by the way, it's tested already 5 times, and the S&P 500 does not form new yearly lows, there's no reason Bitcoin has to come down to 17,200. Why am I mentioning this right now? Well, let's dive into the Bitcoin chart because here's the thing, snipers. We're expecting a potential bear trap at any point in time. We know more of the liquidations are going to come here around the $17,000 level. As a matter of fact, all of the long liquidations are pretty much right around 17,000. So what if we come down a lower low, we liquidate a ton of traders, right? Bitcoin loves to do that before we see a push to the upside. That's potentially on the table. And guess what? That could be on the table in the immediate short term, but the S&P 500 breaking major support. And so at this point, 17,204 is the major support. I still do not believe 13,970 is on the table for Bitcoin just yet. That could change. The markets are dynamic, but right now I don't see that on the table because the bulls are still sticking to the thesis that markets bottom when CPI bottomed. So to keep it old snipers fashion, Bitcoin is playing inside of the range with a resistance of 23,795, a support of 17,204. Yes, we have two major levels in between the previous weekly open, the 2018 previous all-time high, but those are not as significant as the major resistance and the major sniper support. 17,204 is what I'm watching for potential wick, potential double bottom that could happen in the next immediate short-term 24 to 48 hours. We'll have to continue to monitor that, snipers. But other than that, for the S&P 500, what are we looking for to the upside? Well, we want to get back above this major resistance now, which was previous support, 3,800. We need to monitor that for the close this week. We have 2 days left for the equity markets. We'll continue to watch that. Bitcoin right now, of course, what we want to see in the immediate short term is getting back above, let's just call it 20,000. If we can get above 20,000, that's what we want to see. Now, let's say we do see Bitcoin come down to 17,204, maybe 17,000. What does that mean for Ethereum? Well, the equivalent of Bitcoin coming down to 17,000 for Ethereum is going to be Ethereum actually coming all the way down to potentially 900 to 700 US dollars. Bitcoin comes down to 17,000. It's not going to take much. Ethereum could potentially come down to 900 to 780 dollars. Now, what about Ethereum bulls that are saying that, oh, the merge is going to actually translate into a huge rally for Ethereum? Well, we're actually getting something very interesting right now with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, and that's the 20-week moving average defending the 65,000 Satoshi level. For the Ethereum bulls, I want to reiterate this for the Ethereum bulls. If you are bullish on Ethereum, we have to see Ethereum to Bitcoin hold 65,000 Satoshis. This is the #1 cryptocurrency channel on the internet. We have the best technical analysis. I'm telling you, snipers, 65,000 Satoshis is the most important level right now for the Ethereum bulls. Let's continue to monitor that. Now, let's talk about what else is happening outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum after the FOMC meeting, the long-awaited FOMC meeting. And by the way, we'll continue to monitor Bitcoin dominance if Ethereum to Bitcoin starts to move. But the VIX is pushing up a little bit, up 3%, gold at 1659. What you'll notice, though, snipers, is look at the Euro to USD pairing. This is actually predicted all of the bull markets for Bitcoin. 2017 bull market, 2020 bull market. Every time Euro to USD bottomed, there was a bull market, right? We just formed new yearly lows. This is still selling off. This is saying bottom is not in. This is saying risk off environment is still there. Euro to USD now 0.98, right? Still below that $1 peg. And so that is actually a very interesting puzzle piece right now that we're seeing your Euro to USD pairing push down. We will monitor that, snipers. As you know, the best cryptocurrency technical analysis on the internet, the Bitcoin is SPY chart we already talked about. I'll let you guys know if we start to see that decouple. But as long as Bitcoin against SPY does not decouple, and as long as the SPY does not form new yearly lows, there's no justification for Bitcoin to come below 17,204. So I'll keep you guys updated. The #1 cryptocurrency technical analysis on the internet for the last 5 years. We'll make sure to get a video out if we do start to see that decoupling effect, snipers. So the FOMC meeting, very interesting to hear this from Jerome Powell. They're continuing to tighten up. That was the main point today. They are trying to get back to 2% inflation, and they're looking at 2025 as a goal for that because they're focused on the long term. And if they can get back to 2% inflation, that's going to be the best long-term outlook for the economy, and that's what they believe. But the feds have lied to us in the past. Feds saying transitory inflation, right? Oh, 2% in 2022. All of these things have been lies. And so we have to take everything with a grain of salt. The markets are dynamic. Things could change. War could break out, whatever it might be. That's why you guys have to stay tuned every single day to the Snipers channel, the best technical analysis on the internet. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm for this midnight update if you support this content. We were anticipating some volatility today. The day traders got their fair share of volatility with the news. Bitcoin pushed up to 19,798, then it pushed down. That was very fun. We took some trades for altcoins. You guys know we love to trade altcoins during volatility, especially if we're in short season, because it's just like trading the NASDAQ, the QQQs, right? You want a triple leveraged ETF, Shorts are inherently more risky. You want to be in and out of those. Don't stay in those short positions for too long. So we took advantage of a lot of altcoin trades today. What a phenomenal day today. Nothing crazy just yet happening. S&P 500 did break major support, but remember, snipers, the markets do the exact opposite of what people expect. So what if at any point we do see a push to the upside? The bulls are still sticking to their guts, which is when inflation peaked in June, that was the bottom. That thesis could still be true. Let's see, snipers. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to cover today. You know, the markets were a roller coaster today. Prior to the meeting, a lot of these stocks were up, but Amazon closed down 3%. Tesla closed down 3%. We started to see some commodities push up like soybeans and wheat, corn down. Dow Jones Industrial was down 500 points. So it was really a roller coaster today, snipers. But, you know, it's going to take some time for this news to really permeate into the market. So once again, like old snipers fashion, what really matters right now is Bitcoin inside of this range. 17,204, still the major level. And then 23,795, a very important level. By the way, the 20-week moving average is now sitting right around the $24,000 level. It is on the table for Bitcoin to test that 20-week moving average at some point in time. Let's actually pull up the 200-day moving average really quick to see where that's sitting at. Right around 29,300. 100-day and 50-day moving average tightening up together right now. That's interesting. We could potentially come up and test that as well, right below the previous weekly open. So 21,500 is where we got the 50-day, 100-day. So very interesting to see those moving averages converging. Ethereum, you can see fully below all of those daily moving averages. And so we'll have to continue to monitor the chart, snipers. And then, by the way, I saw somebody in the comments talk about Bitcoin against oil chart. I just pulled that up. We'll have to dissect that a little bit more. But FOMC meeting today, out of the way, biggest news for this month. So let's see what happens over the next few days. We've still got 2 business days left and the weekend for Bitcoin, where the markets are the most manipulated. That's all for today, snipers. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, snipers.